Have you noticed how some people climb the ladder of financial success, buy the cars, the homes, the lifestyle, and yet, when you look into their eyes, there's an emptiness that money couldn't touch? They thought wealth was about numbers, but what they really discovered is that wealth without happiness is poverty in disguise. You can be surrounded by luxury and still feel broke on the inside if your health is gone, if your peace is gone, if your joy is gone. Think about it. What's the use of $1 million account if every morning you wake up tired, stressed, and disconnected from yourself? That's not wealth, that's just a more expensive kind of struggle. Real wealth means your mind is clear, your body is alive, and your spirit is at peace. Only then does the money actually mean something. And here's the other side of the coin: happiness without stability doesn't last. You might feel a burst of joy from a vacation, a new purchase, or even a moment of success, but if your foundation isn't solid, that feeling slips away as quickly as it came. Imagine trying to build a house on sand. It might look good for a while, but the moment the storm comes, it collapses. The same goes for happiness. If you don't have health, if you don't have financial stability, if you don't have purpose, that happiness becomes fragile. True joy isn't about temporary highs. It's about creating a life where your body, your mind, and your resources work together to support you, so your happiness isn't shaken every time life throws a challenge at you. Real wealth starts with your health, because without it, nothing else holds value. Think about it. What's the point of having financial freedom if you're constantly battling fatigue, brain fog, or chronic illness? You can't enjoy a vacation, you can't perform at your best, and you can't fully experience life if your body is breaking down. Your health is the foundation on which everything else is built. Energy, strength, and clarity of mind. These are the true currencies of life. When you invest in your health through what you eat, how you sleep, how you manage stress, you're building a kind of wealth that no market crash can take away from you. Because the truth is, you can borrow money, you can rebuild a business, but you cannot buy back years of neglected health. Most people make the tragic mistake of trading their health for money, thinking they'll fix it later. They push their bodies to the limit, skip sleep, live on caffeine, fast food, and constant stress, just to climb a financial ladder that never seems to end. And yes, maybe they reach a certain level of income, but what happens then? All the money they worked so hard to earn gets funneled into doctor visits, medications, and treatments, just to manage the damage they caused along the way. It's almost like borrowing from your own future with interest you can never fully repay. The irony is, if they had prioritized their health from the start, they would have had more energy, sharper focus, and better creativity. The very things that actually lead to long-term success and real wealth. Wealth is not the car you drive or the size of your house. It's the freedom to wake up and decide how you want to live your day. That's the true currency. Too many people get caught up in chasing possessions, thinking those things will make them feel secure or important. But real wealth is measured in choices, not things. It's the ability to spend time with your family without checking the clock, to take care of your health without worrying about missing work, to live in alignment with your values instead of being trapped by debt or obligations. Possessions can impress people for a moment, but freedom gives you peace for a lifetime. When you understand this shift, money becomes a servant to your life, not the master of it. Happiness doesn't come from stacking up more things, it comes from becoming more than you were yesterday. You can keep chasing the next car, the next house, the next gadget, but that excitement fades so quickly, leaving you hungry for the next fix. True, lasting happiness is tied to growth, expanding your mind, strengthening your body, deepening your relationships, and pushing yourself beyond comfort. When you grow, you feel alive, and that aliveness is what people are really searching for when they think money or possessions will complete them. The truth is, it's not about what you collect, It's about who you become in the process. Growth turns ordinary days into meaningful progress, and that's a happiness that doesn't wear off. Have you ever noticed how people treat money almost like it's alive? Like it's this mysterious, all-powerful force controlling everything about their lives. They think money itself has power. They think money itself will make them feel secure, respected, loved, or fulfilled. But here's the truth: money is not alive, it's just a tool. It's not your master unless you hand it the keys to your life. See, the problem starts when people reverse the relationship. Instead of using money as a tool to create freedom, peace, and impact, they let money dictate their choices, their health, even their happiness. How many people stay in toxic jobs not because they love what they do, not because it gives them purpose, but because of a paycheck? How many people put off their dreams because they're waiting for some number in a bank account to give them permission to start living? That's when money becomes a master, and when you make it your master, it will never be satisfied. No matter how much you feed it, it will always ask for more. Think about it. A hammer is a tool, right? You use it to build something meaningful, a home, a table, a project. But imagine if the hammer started telling you what to do. Imagine if it whispered, "Don't build that, don't rest, don't enjoy what you've already built. Keep swinging me, keep chasing nails, keep working harder, and maybe one day I'll let you feel accomplished." That sounds ridiculous, and yet that's exactly how many people let money operate in their lives. They've forgotten it's just a tool. Here's the reality: money has no opinion about you. It doesn't care if you're kind, generous, selfish, or stressed. It doesn't reward you with joy just because you collected more of it. The meaning you attach to it, that's what decides whether it brings peace or pressure. If you treat it like a servant, it will open doors, give you options, and help you build a life that aligns with your values. If you treat it like a master, it will close doors, trap you in constant striving, and rob you of the happiness you thought it would deliver. Let me ask you something. How many times have you said to yourself, "If I could just make a little more, then I'd finally feel secure, then I'd finally be happy"? And yet, the moment you get there, what happens? The bar moves. That little more becomes the new baseline. And you start running again, chasing the next number, the next milestone, always telling yourself that happiness is just one step away. But that's the lie money tells when you let it become your master. It keeps you in a race that never ends. The wealthiest people in the world, the ones who are not just rich on paper, but rich in life, they figured this out early. They don't see money as the goal. They see it as a byproduct of value, growth, and service. They don't wake up thinking, "How can I chase more money today?" They wake up asking, "How can I grow? How can I create? How can I give?" And guess what follows them? Money, because money always flows toward value, but here's the difference: they're not enslaved by it. If it comes, great. If it slows down, they don't lose themselves. Their identity is not tied to their bank account, it's tied to their purpose. Now, here's something I want you to really think about. When money is your master, it controls even your health. How many people eat fast food every day because it's cheaper or it saves time so they can keep working? How many people push their bodies to exhaustion, sacrificing sleep night after night because their master, money, demanded more hours? And then later, all that money gets spent trying to undo the damage. That's the vicious cycle. But when money is just a tool, you use it to buy better food, better rest, better experiences that actually fuel your body and mind to keep growing. You see, money in the right hands is freedom. It's the tool that lets you spend time with your family instead of worrying about bills. It's the tool that lets you invest in your health instead of delaying it. It's the tool that lets you contribute to others, to support causes that matter, to leave a legacy. But it only becomes that when you refuse to bow to it. So let me give you a new way of looking at money. Stop asking, how much can I get? And start asking, what can I do with what I already have? Because wealth is not about the size of the tool, it's about how effectively you use it. But it happy because they've fulft mistevs because they've the art of using it with intention, instead the art of using it with intention. And there are people with more than they could ever spend who still live like beggars because they are slaves to the endless craving for more. Think about the irony. Money is supposed to serve you, yet so many people serve it. They wake up earlier for it, sacrifice health for it, neglect relationships for it, and sometimes even compromise their integrity for it. But if you step back and remind yourself, no, this is just paper, just numbers, just a tool, suddenly the pressure eases. Suddenly you remember that money is not the source of your identity, your worth, or your happiness. It's only ever meant to amplify what you already are. If you're generous without money, money will make you more generous. If you're fearful without money, money will only make you more fearful. If you're at peace without it, money will simply give you more space to enjoy that peace. So the real question isn't how much money do you want, it's who do you want to be with or without it. Because if you become the kind of person who values health, growth, contribution, and peace, then money will simply follow as a tool to expand those things. But if you become the kind of person who worships it, money will magnify your emptiness. Now let's make this practical. Ask yourself, do you make choices in your life based on money being your tool or your master? When you say no to rest because there's money to be made, who's in charge, you or money? When you say yes to something that doesn't align with your values just because there's a paycheck attached, who's leading you or money? And when you constantly delay happiness until you get more, who's making the rules, you or money? It's time to flip the script. Use money to buy back your time, not to lose more of it. Use it to invest in your health, not to destroy it. Use it to build relationships, not to replace them. Use it to create impact, not just to inflate your ego. That's when money becomes a servant. That's when it becomes powerful, because it's directed by purpose, not by fear. And here's the beautiful part. Once you stop being controlled by money, you actually attract more of it. Why? Because you're no longer desperate, you're no longer chasing, you're creating, giving, and serving from a place of abundance. And that energy draws opportunities, connections, and yes, financial success without the slavery. So remember this, money in itself has no power. It only has the power you assign to it. Treat it like a tool, and it will help you build a life that's both wealthy and happy. Treat it like a master, and it will drain the very joy and freedom you were chasing in the first place. The real wealth that lasts is not built by chasing, but by contributing. Think about it. Money flows toward value, and value comes from what you give, not just what you take. When you shift your focus from how can I earn more to how can I serve more, everything changes. You stop operating from scarcity and start operating from abundance. The happiest, wealthiest people you'll ever meet are those who decided their lives would mean something to others. They build businesses that solve problems, they create products that improve lives, they share knowledge that uplifts others. And here's the irony, while most people are busy competing, these people are too busy contributing, and the reward of contribution is not just money, but fulfillment. When you add genuine value to the world, people are drawn to you, opportunities open up, and wealth follows as a natural side effect. But even more important, you gain something money can never buy, the deep satisfaction of knowing your life mattered, that your work wasn't just about survival, but about significance. We often look at wealthy, successful, and deeply fulfilled people and assume they had some secret advantage. Maybe they were born lucky. Maybe they had the right connections. Maybe they stumbled into an opportunity no one else could see. But if you study them closely, you'll notice something far more powerful than luck or timing: discipline and habits. That's the backbone of unshakable wealth. See, success isn't built in giant leaps. It's not one big break, one magic investment, or one brilliant decision that suddenly changes everything. It's the daily, often boring, often unseen choices that compound over years. It's what you do consistently, not occasionally, that builds wealth, both financial and emotional. Just like health, you don't get fit from one workout, you don't get sick from one bad meal. It's the repetition, the patterns, the habits that shape your future. Think about it this way. A single drop of water looks insignificant, but if it keeps dripping on the same stone day after day, eventually it carves through solid rock. Habits work the same way. They carve through your circumstances, your doubts, even your limitations. And discipline is what keeps the water dripping, even when you don't see immediate results. But here's the challenge. Most people underestimate both the power of habits and the danger of neglecting them. They think it's just one skipped workout, just one late night, just one purchase I can't really afford, but those just ones accumulate. They stack up silently, and over time they shape your destiny. Wealth is not built from what you occasionally decide. It's built from what you repeatedly do. Now, let's bring this closer to reality. If you look at someone financially stable and emotionally fulfilled, what you'll find is not perfection, but discipline. They're not smarter than everyone else, but they've built routines that serve them automatically. They save before they spend. They invest before they indulge. They read instead of scrolling endlessly. They move their body instead of collapsing on the couch. And here's the beauty: because they've trained themselves with discipline, these choices stop feeling heavy. They become natural, just like brushing your teeth. You don't have to think about it, you just do it. And over time, that automation creates results that seem extraordinary to everyone else. The trap most people fall into is chasing motivation instead of building discipline. Motivation is a spark. It feels good, it excites you, but it fades. Discipline is the engine. It doesn't care if you're tired, bored, or uninspired. It carries you forward anyway. If you only act when you're motivated, your progress will always be inconsistent. But if you act out of discipline, even small actions done daily will compound into something massive. Think about compound interest. It doesn't look impressive at first. The growth is slow, almost invisible. But stay consistent, and eventually it accelerates beyond belief. That's exactly what habits do for your health, your wealth, and your happiness. Skipping discipline is like pulling money out of an investment just before it multiplies. You never let the compounding take its course. And let's be honest, discipline isn't glamorous. No one celebrates you for getting up early to meditate, for skipping the donut, for saving $50 instead of spending it. But those small, invisible wins build an invisible fortress around you. They create resilience, they create momentum, and they give you control over your life instead of being tossed around by circumstances. Here's something most people don't realize. Discipline actually creates freedom. At first, it feels restrictive, like rules, limits, and sacrifices. But over time, those very boundaries free you. Discipline in your spending frees you from debt. Discipline in your eating frees you from disease. Discipline in your work frees you from the anxiety of uncertainty. Lack of discipline feels free in the moment, but it enslaves you later. Real freedom comes from the consistency you build today. Now ask yourself, what habits are silently shaping your future right now? Because whether you realize it or not, you're already disciplined, just maybe in the wrong direction. If you're disciplined about sleeping late, about checking your phone every 5 minutes, about procrastinating, about indulging instead of investing, that's also discipline, but one that steals your future instead of strengthening it. The key is not whether you have discipline, but where you're applying it. Look at anyone who's built lasting wealth, not the kind that comes and goes, but the kind that sustains generations, and you'll see discipline everywhere. They live below their means while others overspend. They invest consistently while others chase quick wins. They keep learning while others stay comfortable. They choose health while others burn themselves out. And because of that, when storms hit, economic downturns, health scares, life challenges, they're not shaken. Their habits have already built resilience. Their discipline created wealth no one can take away. And this is where most people miss it. They think wealth is built by reacting to opportunities. But the truth is, wealth is built by preparing for opportunities before they show up. And that preparation is nothing but discipline. Imagine two people. One spends recklessly, never saves, never learns. The other saves a little, invests a little, reads a little, exercises a little every single day. 10 years later, one is drowning in debt, stress, and regret. The other is free, secure, and thriving. The difference wasn't talent, intelligence, or even luck. The difference was habits. Discipline also protects your happiness. Without it, your emotions run your life. You eat when you're stressed, spend when you're lonely, procrastinate when you're afraid. With discipline, you build guardrails. You don't let temporary feelings destroy permanent progress. You learn to act according to your vision, not your impulses. That's how discipline makes you not just wealthy, but happy, because happiness isn't found in indulgence. It's found in growth, in mastery, in becoming the kind of person who can trust themselves. And let me tell you something powerful. Discipline is contagious. When you live with it, people notice. Your children, your friends, your colleagues, they see your consistency, and it inspires them. Your habits don't just build your life, they influence lives around you. That's why discipline is not just personal, it's legacy. So if you want unshakable wealth, not just numbers in a bank account, but health, happiness, and freedom, you don't need a miracle. You need habits. You need the discipline to do what most people won't, long enough to live like most people can't. Every small choice, every repeated action, every quiet discipline, it's carving your future, day by day. And the sooner you build those disciplines, the sooner wealth stops being a dream and starts becoming your reality. The wealthiest people on this planet are not simply the ones with overflowing bank accounts, but the ones who have mastered the art of living fully, loving deeply, and giving freely. You see, true abundance can't be measured in cars, houses, or numbers. It's measured in how alive you feel, how connected you are to others, and how much of an impact you leave behind. You could have every material thing the world offers and still feel hollow if your life lacks meaning. But when you live with purpose, when you nurture relationships that bring genuine joy, and when you give of yourself in ways that outlast you, you experience a wealth that money could never buy. Think about it, life is not about adding years to your bank account, it's about adding depth to your days. You can live in a small home and feel like a king if it's filled with love, laughter, and peace. And you can live in a mansion and feel imprisoned if it's filled with tension, emptiness, and loneliness. The wealth that counts is not how much you can accumulate, but how much you can experience, how much you can share, and how much you can leave behind for others. And the paradox is this: the more you live, love, and give, the more life gives back to you. When you pour into others, opportunities multiply. When you build relationships instead of walls, support comes back to you when you need it most. When you give freely without fear of running out, you realize abundance was never about what you had, it was about who you were becoming in the process. That's why the people we admire most, the ones who seem the richest in spirit, are not always the ones with the biggest fortune, but the ones who have touched the most lives. Because in the end, wealth is not about having more, it's about becoming more. And the ones who truly win are the ones who chose to live with energy, love without holding back, and give without keeping score. So when you put it all together, the message is simple but powerful. If you want to be wealthy and happy, don't chase money, build yourself. Guard your health because it's the foundation of everything. Anchor your happiness in stability, not in quick highs. Redefine wealth as freedom, not possessions. Grow every day, contribute more than you consume, and remember that money is only a tool, never a master. Discipline will create the habits that secure your future, and living fully, loving deeply, and giving freely will make you richer than any bank account ever could. Real wealth is not measured in what you own, but in how you live, who you become, and the impact you leave behind. And when you live by that truth, you won't just have wealth, you'll carry a happiness no one can take from you.